Right now, sitting quietly in your kitchen pantry is a simple ingredient that could save you hundreds of dollars in synthetic fertilizers while triggering an absolute growth explosion in your backyard. Most everyday households throw away an incredible amount of latent fertility every single week, unknowingly tossing out items that possess the exact organic compounds our crops desperately crave. It is a heartbreaking gardening mistake to believe that beautiful, abundant harvests require expensive, chemical-heavy, commercial jugs, when nature has already provided everything we need right inside our homes. Imagine walking out to your garden and seeing tomato vines so heavy with fruit they bow toward the earth, or crisp, emerald green cucumber leaves glistening with health, all achieved for pennies. You do not need a massive budget or a degree in agricultural science to cultivate an absolute paradise. You just need to unlock the hidden magic already waiting in your cupboards. If you want to transform your growing space into a thriving, chemical-free sanctuary, take a quick second to subscribe to this channel so we can keep sharing these time-tested, practical secrets together. We have built an incredible global family here, and it would mean the world if you could drop your location down in the comments, whether you are tending a small balcony pot in a bustling city, managing a kitchen garden in a quiet town, or running a multi-acre farm out in the countryside. Hearing where you are growing from helps us understand just how far our community reaches, and it allows all of us to connect over our shared love for the soil. Let us dive right into the heart of the matter with a remedy that might sound a bit surprising at first, but delivers results so jaw-dropping your neighbors will think you are hiding a secret agricultural superpower. If you dig into your refrigerator or pantry, you likely have a packet of active dry yeast, or perhaps some leftover liquid bread starter that has been sitting around. For generations, households have used yeast exclusively for baking fluffy loaves of bread. But when you introduce this living organism to your soil, it acts as a phenomenal microbial activator rather than a direct fertilizer. The science behind this is beautiful in its simplicity because yeast releases a rich cocktail of enzymes, vitamins, and vital B-complex organic compounds that feed the beneficial bacteria and fungi already sleeping in your earth. This triggers a brilliant microbial cascade effect, speeding up the decomposition of organic matter and unlocking trapped nutrients so your plants can finally drink them in. To brew a massive 1-gallon batch of this miracle elixir, you will want to gather 1 gallon of lukewarm water, ideally around 90 to 95 degrees, making sure to avoid heavily chlorinated or fluorinated tap water. Rainwater captured from your roof gutters is perfect for this because it lacks harsh chemical additives that might harm the living cultures. Next, you will dissolve 2 tablespoons of rich molasses or ordinary cane sugar into the warm water, ensuring every single granule is completely incorporated. Once your sugary liquid is ready, gently sprinkle 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast across the surface, letting it float freely to maximize its surface area rather than stirring it in right away. You need to let this mixture sit for a minimum of 2 hours, though leaving it overnight is vastly superior because it gives the yeast ample time to fully awaken, gorging on the sugars until a thick, frothy, beer-like foam blankets the top. Right before you take it out to the garden, you will stir in 1 tablespoon of standard kitchen baking soda and 1 cup of standard buttermilk. The buttermilk serves as an exceptional calcium delivery system that strengthens cell walls and protects your crops from the heartbreak of blossom end rot, while the baking soda acts as a mild pH modifier and fungal control agent at the soil surface. For the dedicated home gardener caring for individual pots or raised beds, you want to start incredibly small, applying just a few drops twice a week to young seedlings in their tray cells, ensuring you pour the liquid onto the soil about a 1/4 inch away from the delicate stem. As your crops mature into medium-sized bushes up to a foot tall, increase the dosage to half a cup, and eventually move to a full cup of this mixture once they are settled deeply into the ground. If you are a small or medium-scale farmer looking to treat a larger area, you can easily scale these proportions up to a massive 50-gallon drum, using a clean backpack sprayer or a drip line to drench the root zones across your fields. Always make sure to lightly water your soil with fresh water before applying this mix to prevent any sudden microbial overload or root shock, and stick strictly to the recommended amounts so your plants do not experience an imbalance. The absolute prime time to apply this formula is early in the morning, when the air is cool and the soil is damp, or late in the evening right before sunset, avoiding the blazing midday heat when your plants are already battling atmospheric stress. Within just 7 to 10 days of your first application, you will see a profound transformation as your leaves turn a rich, deep emerald green and your plants begin stretching skyward with renewed vigor. By the third week, the stems will grow remarkably thick and sturdy, throwing out heavy branches that will soon be covered in an abundance of vibrant blossoms. But here is where it gets really interesting. Because once you have optimized your soil biology with a yeast drench, you can take your garden's health to an even deeper level by looking at another item most people throw away without realizing what it can do. Every single day, millions of households crack open fresh eggs for breakfast, tossed into a frying pan while the heavy, rigid shells are mindlessly scraped into the garbage bin. Eggshells are an absolute goldmine of pure calcium carbonate, a structural building block that acts like a defensive shield for your growing garden. When plants lack access to readily available calcium, their newly forming cells collapse, leading to stunted roots, twisted leaves, and fruit that rots from the bottom before it even has a chance to ripen. To turn these kitchen scraps into a fast-acting liquid calcium supplement, you want to save about a dozen empty eggshells, rinse them thoroughly with clean water, and let them dry completely in the sun until they are brittle to the touch. Once they are dry, crush them into a fine powder using a rolling pin or an old kitchen blender. Then toss the powder into a dry pan over medium heat, toasting them until they emit a rich, earthy aroma and turn a light golden brown. Next, pour the toasted powder into a glass jar and add 1 cup of ordinary white vinegar, which you can easily find in your kitchen cleaning supplies or baking aisle. The moment the vinegar hits the toasted eggshells, a wild, bubbling reaction will take place, as the acetic acid breaks down the solid calcium, transforming it into a highly bioavailable water-soluble liquid. Let this jar sit uncovered or loosely draped with a cloth for about 2 weeks until the bubbling completely stops and the liquid becomes perfectly clear. For a home gardener with a backyard plot or a balcony filled with terracotta pots, you will dilute just 1 tablespoon of this concentrated calcium liquid into a gallon of pure rainwater, thoroughly drenching the soil around your heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. If you are a medium-scale farmer watching over long rows of crops, you can mix this solution at a ratio of 1 to 500 inside a large water tank, running it directly through your irrigation lines to nourish thousands of plants simultaneously. Apply this homemade calcium drench once every 2 weeks during the early morning hours, allowing the damp soil to absorb the nutrients before the afternoon sun dries out the earth. You will quickly notice your plants developing incredibly tough, resilient stems, and your fruit will grow plump, firm, and entirely free from dark, sunken rot patches. Your grandmother probably knew this next one, but somehow it got forgotten along the way as modern chemical sprays took over the market, blinding us to the simple power of a humble morning beverage. After you finish brewing your daily pot of black tea or coffee, that dark, soggy residue left behind in the filter is packed with residual nitrogen, tannic acids, and valuable trace minerals. When you gently scratch these used grounds into the top inch of your soil, they serve as a fantastic, slow-release organic amendment that improves earth structure, increases water retention, and creates a beautifully crumbly texture that roots love to stretch through. Furthermore, the mild acidity of coffee grounds is highly intoxicating to beneficial earthworms, drawing them up from the deep subsoil to tunnel through your garden beds, aerating the earth and leaving behind nutrient-rich castings. For small-scale home gardeners, you can collect your daily coffee grounds or tea leaves, spread them out thinly on a baking sheet to dry so they do not grow mold, and then sprinkle a thin layer directly around the base of your acid-loving crops, like blueberries, roses, and leafy greens. If you are a farmer looking to utilize this on a larger scale, Establishing a relationship with a local coffee shop can net you hundreds of pounds of free, premium organic material every week, which you can layer directly into your massive compost piles to accelerate decomposition and supercharge your eventual field applications. This simple kitchen byproduct should be worked into the soil once a month during your regular weeding routine, preferably right before a gentle evening rain or a thorough scheduled watering, so the natural compounds can slowly seep down into the root zone. You will feel a deep sense of satisfaction as you watch the soil transform from a hard, pale, compacted crust into a dark, spongy, sweet-smelling ecosystem that holds moisture beautifully even during the dry spikes of summer. Now, while feeding the soil is absolutely critical, keeping destructive pests from devouring your hard work is an entirely different battle. But you do not need to resort to toxic chemical sprays that harm beneficial pollinators. If you look under your kitchen sink, you almost certainly have a bottle of liquid dish soap, or perhaps a bar of pure vegetable-based Castile soap sitting near the basin. A simple, properly diluted soapy water solution acts as a highly effective, completely natural contact insecticide that disrupts the delicate cell membranes of soft-bodied pests like aphids, spider mites, and whiteflies, causing them to dehydrate rapidly without leaving any harmful chemical residue on your food. To craft this household pest remedy, simply mix 2 tablespoons of mild liquid soap into 1 gallon of lukewarm water, shaking the container gently until the mixture is fully unified and slightly sudsy. For a backyard gardener or someone tending a lush indoor plant collection, you can pour this solution into a standard hand pump spray bottle, carefully coating both the tops and the hidden undersides of every leaf where pests love to hide. For a farmer managing half an acre of leafy vegetables, this mix can be scaled up into a large commercial backpack sprayer, allowing you to walk the rows efficiently and protect large swathes of crops from sudden insect infestations. It is absolutely vital that you apply this soapy spray only during the late evening hours just as the sun is dipping below the horizon, because spraying it during the heat of the day can cause the sun's rays to magnify through the droplets, scorching your beautiful green foliage. Repeat this treatment once every 5 to 7 days until you see that the pest population has completely vanished, allowing your crops to grow peacefully without their vital juices being siphoned away. As we wrap up our time together today, I want to say a massive, heartfelt thank you for being such an essential part of this wonderful growing community. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and take a moment to drop your location down in the comments section so we can celebrate the incredible diversity of our global gardening family. Whether you are coaxing a beautiful harvest out of a few small pots on a high-rise apartment balcony, or watching over rows of vibrant crops stretching across a vast, sun-drenched farming field, this space is dedicated to helping you succeed naturally. Keep your eyes peeled for our very next video, where we are going to dive into a shocking kitchen scrap remedy that will completely revolutionize how you grow root vegetables.